Hey people, it's me again, Indigo, or not that much, but we'll talk about that at the end of this video. First and foremost, I want to talk about the past year. My first year of taking art seriously and what I've learned from it. I hope you gained something from this video, whether it's personal or some of my concrete advice for artists who feel like they haven't quite found their place yet. It'll be about the emotional journey as well as its deep connection to finding your art style and path. Take everything with a grain of salt, as this is just my experience of finding a direction for my art and style. Maybe you can take some inspiration from this video, but most importantly, do what feels right to you. My art journey began pretty early on. I loved drawing ever since I could hold a pen. As a teen, I started drawing with more of a goal by using references and taking a little more time for my art. But I didn't start taking art seriously until, well, pretty much a year ago. I want to share with you what I've learned from it, so maybe it can help you too. Many videos I've seen about this topic are more about the technical side of things, like draw every day or do this special practice and become an art god, but I never found a video that was more about the emotional growth and difficulties that come with this. Questions like, how do I find my style, or how do I decide for a niche or concrete career path, are questions that have always been answered with technical things like just learn the fundamentals, just draw every day, and so on. So if you're tired of hearing this and wish for some more personal advice that can actually get you further than just practicing, you clicked on the right video. My first year of taking art seriously and what I've learned from it. The moment you start taking art seriously, it'll completely change your approach on it. There is no one right way to learn art. There are definitely techniques and practices that help a lot, and I really recommend giving them a shot. But in the end, the second you start taking art seriously, your brain will stack up any and every information about it you get. It feels like you unlocked a new room in your brain, and it might take some time for you to actually recognize this feeling, but just being more aware of everything you observe will definitely change your way of thinking about art and your approach on it. Even just observing lights, colors, shapes, and all that in your everyday life will stack up and stack up and stack up until you have a breakthrough. And it's absolutely true. The moment you feel most like giving up, you're right before your breakthrough. One of the most discussed questions is, how do I find my art style? And finding an art style is more about finding your own unique workflow, to be honest. Drawing fan art or do this in your style challenges are an amazing way to experiment and try different things until you go into some sort of direction for your art. So please don't shy away from drawing fan art because you fear it could be unoriginal. Same with references, and I had to learn this in the long run. This doesn't mean you must draw fan art only. But focusing on the things you love and find easy to draw helps a lot to find out what you like or don't like and what way of drawing, what workflow feels the most natural to you. Having a relatively concrete goal by using a reference or drawing fan art, you can lift off that weight from your brain to think about more fundamental things. You'll try out different approaches for your workflow, use of brushes, canvas sizes, style of rendering, styles of sketching, until you suddenly hit a work path that feels natural to you. And this is something you can only find out by practice. It was super hard for me to let go of this rigid idea of this is what an artistic workflow must look like. There are artists you look up to or that inspire you, and you sometimes start wondering why you can't do the same even if you try adapting the same work structure. Especially because almost no one, at least not to my knowledge, talks about their workflow and structure itself. It's always just, how do I do backgrounds or how I choose colors, but no one ever talks about the complete progress. I will definitely make another video about my personal structure soon, because I feel like this is really missing in our community. But to cut it short for now, try drawing from a reference so much that you don't spend your thoughts on the composition, correct perspective, design elements, and else for once. I don't think I need to say this here, but don't trace. It'll blow up the whole point of exercising like this. When I started practicing like that, was super hard for me because of fear, shame and imposter thoughts. But I could finally see every big step I made with every other piece. Up until the point that I finally feel like I'm going into some sort of direction with my art. Try practicing like that and really focus on experimenting with your workflow and structure until you found a way that feels natural to you. This won't happen suddenly with just one drawing, but with each piece, with each small experiment you'll gather a tiny element of what you like and don't like. You pick them up and proceed with them until you one day create a piece and suddenly see every little stylistic element you gathered in the past pieces collected in one final artwork. And that'll be the point when it clicks. That'll be the point you finally understand the next layer of what art can mean to you. You'll understand all the possibilities and have had enough practice and experience to stay motivated and keep pushing forward. And I think the small moment is the one that makes the difference about whether you consider yourself a complete beginner or an intermediate artist. It's also the moment your passion reaches a whole new height. It is simply one of the reasons fan artists seem to improve so fast and be so certain and confident about what they're doing. Engaging in the art community helps a lot to get a rich experience out of being an artist. It also helps with building connections, finding friends, trying out different approaches, and getting a broader spectrum of feedback and possibilities. Besides that, it'll really help you stay motivated in the long run. It's just like having go-to-work buddies. Yes, of course, you can go to work and do your job well without loving the place and the people. But you'll be so much more happier, productive and successful when you have fun doing it and some nice friends and work buddies to discuss with or just joke around for some time. You'll be much happier, improve faster and don't burn out so quickly. It really takes some time to find your way into the community and find your people, so don't stress about it. Just be open-minded and try to socialize with other artists. Fan communities can be a really great place to start. And now a bit more on the emotional, mental health side of things. I have a long history and by that deep and complex relationship to art. I absolutely know what it feels like to think about giving up and trying something else. The feeling I know best is a lack of self-worth and an excess of perfectionism. And I'll be brutally honest about myself, I'm someone who people come to when they have problems, when they have something they need to talk about or wish advice for. And I've always been some kind of motivator who gets the people back up and push further. I show so much compassion, understanding and support for other people, but not for me. It took me a long time to realize this and get onto this path of treating myself like I would treat my friends. And I'm still unsure if I fully believe in myself, like, how does that even feel? But what I do know is this. Every single day you spend pushing through, even if it's just a small step closer to your goal or just enough to not fall apart yet, it'll be one more lottery ticket for your happiness. It'll be one more chance to find your way. And even if your fears would turn out right, and you don't reach your goal of being a full-time artist or illustrator or whatever your goal is, you can proudly say that you did your very best to make the most out of it. And at that point you'd also understand that art really isn't about your goal, it's about the journey. And I know how stupid and cheesy this sounds when you aren't there yet, because some things can't be understood by words. You need to feel them to get these words through to your heart and soul. Everyone has a reason they started drawing. And sometimes along the way we lose sight of where we came from. And that can cause fear and a feeling of uncertainness. But every shiver of anxiety is still some sort of motion that can get you anywhere. The only moment you lose is when you don't try anymore. And any kind of motion is good motion in that case. Especially because you can never know beforehand where this journey will take you. And if you once stopped doing art because you felt paralyzed by fear and uncertainty, like I did several times, you can always try to get moving again. And the tiniest action in that part of your brain will move something inside you. The colors of a beautiful butterfly can set a storm of creativity inside you. So yeah, long story short, keep trying. It takes a long time to realize that we're all just human trying our best. It might take an even longer time to allow yourself being human, making mistakes, experimenting, failing, but also changing and discovering new things for yourself. And again, as cheesy as it sounds, every mistake is another step to success. I didn't believe that this applies to me as well. I always had a thought of, yes, everyone is allowed to make mistakes and learn and change, but not me. And if you're at this point, then I just want to tell you, here's at least one more person feeling like you. You're not alone, and I believe in you making it through the struggle, enduring the shivering fear and trying anyway, even if you don't believe in yourself yet. Tell yourself that every little thought, every little practice used on art is a motion that will get you somewhere. You can never tell if it'll work for you. You can never tell if you'll one day reach the goal you set for yourself, but you'll definitely get somewhere. And oftentimes, it's the place you would have never expected to once be in that fulfills you the most. But let me leave you some practical advice as well. Always carry a sketchbook around. Don't stress to draw in it every day if you don't feel like it, because that'll just burn you out. Don't stress about everything having to look good either. It'll make you super anxious about drawing and challenging yourself. I personally like to keep 2 sketchbooks for that reason. One trash book, as I like to call it, and one glam book, where I try to draw specific things. But the trash book is equally, if not even more important for your journey. Sketch down ideas you have so you understand them, because this trash book is only for you. And just like with bad handwriting, nobody needs to see or understand my scribbly notes but me. As long as I know what I wanted to communicate, I can use these trashy concept sketches to elevate these thoughts from my mind and work on making it look actually good. Nurture your love for art by looking at other artists' work and the world around you, including games, movies, or whatever media you have passion for. Try to analyze what you like about it. This might be difficult to locate in the beginning, but it'll get easier every time. Learning about the different elements of art will make it easier to you to identify the specific things you like about a piece. Just listening to other artists talk about it can already do a lot. Always be cautious consuming other people's words though. It's best to take advice from professionals to get a feeling for what really works and what doesn't. It's best for you when you get fully and correctly informed about a new topic. If you learn something by a less experienced artist, always fact check what they say and think about it yourself. Learning things the wrong way can really take you back and hinder your growth, as you will try to fulfill rules that don't make any sense. Give yourself at least 1 year of taking art seriously. It'll help a lot to build up your relationship with art, and you'll learn so many things about yourself, your likes, dislikes, deepest wishes and hopes. Be yourself, unapologetically. And I know this is hard. I'm autistic and have been bullied for almost everything about me for years. I like My Little Pony, I love Pokemon, I sleep with plushies, and I regularly buy action figures. Geez, I have several piles of stones in my room because I like them. It's hard to be honest about these things, especially when you're used to being bullied. You're probably super ashamed about some of your passions, and I wish I couldn't, but I can relate so hard to this. But let me tell you this. The things you love are those that'll bring you the furthest. And oftentimes, these things you truly love are the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of. A good way to deal with this is by making completely anonymous accounts. Block everyone you know. And even if you're just unsure about whether you might be hiding parts of yourself unconsciously, you probably are. Give it a try, because it will absolutely boost your artistic journey to create and experiment without fear. And that leaves me with the last topic I want to talk about today, and already hinted in the beginning. It's something I've thought about for years and finally came to a conclusion. Because I have something to be honest about now as well. If you're one of my 3 followers, hi hey, I really appreciate you being there. You've known me as Indigo for now. With this channel I wanted to fulfill my teenage dream of being a speed paint commentary artist on YouTube. I've been trying to do this for years. I recorded so many videos without ever publishing one of them out of fear. Because people told me it would be cringe or I would regret to put myself on the internet like that. People that were close to me. Partially family close. And I bet they didn't have any ill intents. They just wanted to help and protect me. But at some point you need to detach yourself from what other people think is good for you and make your own brave choices. I was so scared by all the daunting assumptions everyone would have about YouTube and their creators, that even now that I opened this channel and published some videos, I wasn't fully honest with you, and also with myself. I created Indigo as kind of a second, or well, third identity. I now was even afraid that the people who knew me from my anonymous Instagram account would find this channel. All the years of being bullied really got into my mind, I guess. But that wasn't the only reason I chose this other name. The second reason is one that I'm thinking about for the longest time now, because I was actually super indecisive about whether to change my whole artist identity to Indigo, including all my other platforms. The truth is, I'm afraid people can't pronounce my name or are confused by it. That sounds super stupid, but it made me afraid that this could hinder my success as a creator. I'm autistic, I got ADHD and so many other issues. I'm honestly afraid that I won't be able to work a regular job when I'm done studying. I always told myself that I would work another job if I could just proceed doing art, and that is still 100% true. But it's also true that I have a very special needs, and my biggest fear is to be left behind, to be alone, and to not find a place to be. I love working, I love learning, exploring, and socializing with other people. But the thought of me being too odd to ever fit in anywhere was so frightening that I chose to put on another mask. But last November I had some regular blood tests made, and for 2 very frightening weeks my doctor suspected a problem with my heart. Don't worry, I'm fine. They made some tests and my heart is okay. But as I always had troubles with feeling dizzy, fainting, having too high or too low blood pressure, I was so scared to be sick. The moment I understood what this would mean to me, I saw the pile of things I did for other people, and next to that, the very few things I did for myself. I took some time off and came back, promising to fully live for myself from now on. So now, layer after layer, mask after mask, I want to put them down. What is life if not fully lived by my true self? So for the first time I'll say now, hi, my name is Lorare and I'm so thankful for having you today. I appreciate your support by watching this video and hope it sparked some joy and motivation to keep going. If you're unsure about how to pronounce my name, that's totally fine. Many people are, and I don't blame anyone for mispronouncing it. Actually, I find it quite interesting to hear everyone's take on it. Thanks again for watching. I'm so grateful for every watch, comment, like or subscribe I get. And no matter how things will go from now on, at least I'm going through it as myself. So stay happy and hydrated, and till next time.